Hey, so hello everyone. This is Carroll Moon with KidFit, and I'm here with Coach Steve Hagen. He's our first NFL coach interviewee for KidFit Ministries. He's also a big part of Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and I'll let him explain all of his background and his ministry to you momentarily. I would, though, like to spend a minute just talking about KidFit. Our mission is to help kids of all backgrounds, whether they can pay or not, through sports, giving them opportunities for mentoring and opportunities they may not otherwise have. We're starting small, but eventually the plan is to have camps that help train kids. We will do personal training. We're doing it in garages now for kids who can pay and those who can't. Eventually we'll have space. We're looking for space now. And then also teams. We're starting small with a 7-on-7 team here in Lynchburg, Virginia, but we'll play it out from there. And so we're blessed to do this weekly interview series, to have great interviewees like Coach Hagen. And I'd like to just jump right in with him. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And can you tell me a little bit about your playing career? I know football is a big part of your life. Can you tell me about when you played?
I played back in the early 1800s. I started playing football in California, Southern California, when I was about, 8 years old, just playing touch football in the park, in the street, wherever you could do it. And then I didn't even really do padded football, full contact football, until the ninth grade, freshman year of high school. And, it's the greatest sport because of a lot of reasons, and I'm sure we'll get into them, but, it makes you tough. It, makes you get up when you get knocked down, makes you wipe off some bloody noses and keep playing, just different things that happen to you in real life happen to you on a football field. Sometimes you get knocked down, and it's all metaphors for what's really going to happen to you in your real life. And I just love that analogy and comparison to where kids can grow up in the sport.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great. And so you played in Southern California, and then you started with your padded in ninth grade, and you've had a phenomenal coaching career. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, it all kind of went together. It all blended together. When I was a little guy, 8 years old, I started as a ball boy for the Dallas Cowboys. They used to have their training camp in Southern California at Thousand Oaks at a school called California Lutheran. And my dad, the Cowboys hired my dad he was a full-time employee of Cal Lutheran, and the Cowboys hired him to make sure that the fields were always in good shape when they came out there every summer. And then my dad was also the guy who picked the ball boys for summer training camp, and there were 4 boys in my family, so we had 4 ball boys right there. And so I guess, when you're working under guys like Tom Landry and Dan Reeves and Gene Stallings and Mike Ditka and all those guys, and I'm not name dropping, I'm just telling you who was there when I was there, because I didn't even, when you're a little kid, you don't think of it that way. Mm-hmm. But as you grow in this profession, especially in the coaching profession, you're like, whoa, I was around some giants, so I grew up with the Cowboys, and then I played, like I said, in Southern California. I stayed, and they went back to Dallas. So they were out there about 2 months every summer, and I would be out there with them. And I was there from 7 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning till whenever we shut it down at night, 7:30 at night every day until they left. And then as I grew and got older, they entrusted me to do more things. And so I hung out around the coaches more. When I was in high school, I started filming all their practices. And then I would have to take the film up and put the film up in the meeting rooms and make sure that was all set up. And I also would sit in the staff meeting, the football staff meeting, to know what drills to film and what angle to film them at, if it was a wide version or a tight end zone version or whatever the case may be. So I was just blessed to be able to sit in those meetings, with Coach Landry leading those meetings. And then I played my college career, had a little stint in the USFL. That's how long ago this was. And then I got in, my first job was to go back to Dallas and work with the Cowboys, which was really fun, but it wasn't a coaching job. And I always thought I wanted to coach, And so that's when I got into my coaching career. And my first job was at the University of Illinois with Mike White. And that was a lot of fun. That was a good time. I was young. I was like 22 years old, 23, right in there. And, rolled away from California. And I was wondering, what in the world am I doing out here in the middle of this cornfield, but I had football and the team, and I was just rolling, had a great time. So, and then the career just kind of goes from there. There's highs and lows to everybody's career, no matter if you're coaching or not. But just coaching gets played out on the national market, gets played out on TV. And so everybody sees it. Not everybody's job is played out on TV. And, coaching is, and you get to see it. So if you have a good year, everybody sees it. If you have a bad year, everybody sees it. And so there goes your coaching career. Sometimes when you have bad years, you got to move on. When you have good years, you either get to stay or you can move on. So there's a lot that goes into that. So all that being said, you end up, if you stay in coaching long enough, you'll have a few jobs and you'll move around a little bit. And I've had a few good jobs. I was blessed again to work with Lou Holtz at Notre Dame, coach. And we were really good then. This was 89 and 90, and we were playing for national championships. And that was just a great era of Notre Dame football. Not that it isn't now, but that's my experience at Notre Dame. It was great. Got to work with Butch Davis in the NFL. That was my first NFL job. And that was in 2001. Got hired by the Cleveland Browns with Butch, and he's now at Florida International University, doing a great job down there. Mm-hmm. And worked with him there, and then went away when that all blew up. Became an offense coordinator at Fresno for a year, and then Butch called me back, and I went to North Carolina with him, and I was there a couple more years with Butch, and then had an opportunity to get back in the NFL and went back into the NFL with the Cleveland Browns again. So it was so nice. I did it twice, went back, and then that all blew up. And then we got a job with the New York Jets. So we moved out to New York and coached at the Jets for 3 years, and that was a good time. And now I'm working with Fellowship Christian Athletes and coaching and having a good time doing football universities around America and all that kind of stuff. That's how we met.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was awesome to get to talk to you that weekend and talk about our faith and all that stuff. So I'm thankful. It's an amazing career, going back to when you were a young boy and then coming all the way back up and getting back into the NFL and coaching there all those years. Just fantastic.
I guess it'd be best if it all ended at Dallas again. Just full circle.
Right.
Go back to the Cowboys and win a Super Bowl with them, and then I could say, you know what, I'm out. I drop the mic.
That's it. Go out like that. Well, yeah. Just meeting you, seeing the joy you have being around kids and coaching, it was awesome for me to get to spend time with you. And I know a big part of that is because of your faith. Can you tell me why Jesus is so important to you?
Well, we just experienced Easter. I don't know when you're going to play this out on the air, but Easter was this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one should publish April 16th, Coach.
Okay, so Jesus is important to everybody that believes in him, and everybody that doesn't believe in him. He's still important to them too, because he's alive, most importantly. And really, he's the only one that can transform anyone's life. I can't help a quarterback get better, skill wise and stuff. But when I start to add that other element of Jesus into it, then they can really start to own their own game and own their own personal relationship with Jesus Christ, which allows them the confidence and a higher comfort level in all that they do. And not just playing football. I'm talking about life and all that they do. And then they just become better. And I'm just speaking on behalf of football players. They become better men. They become more confident, stronger, just better leaders. And Jesus is so important for so many reasons. He was the best leader of all time, obviously, because he knows every dynamic that we're ever going to face. He understands money management. He understands physics. He understands, you name it, he understands it. And it's when we spend time with him, meaning in the Word, reading, we start to learn all those things too. And it's like the onion. You start to unpeel it, and it starts to reveal itself, and it just gets better and better the closer we get to him.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know that football, we talked about the fact that it's been since you're 8 years old working in football, and why is it so important to you?
Well, I kind of expounded on that a little bit earlier. It's just a great metaphor for life. I mean, there aren't too many other situations that you'll find yourself in where you're in a group, that a group really relies on you. When you get into team sports, you can feel that. There's different roles on the football team. Not everybody can play quarterback. Not everybody can play offensive line. So you have to find your role, just like life. You have to find your role in life, and then you have to excel at your role. Within that role, you're also part of the team, the greater good. And so, we're all connected all the time on a football field. And I tell my own family that we're all connected all the time. And I think that as this world population, we're all connected all the time. Regardless of whether we're Christian or not, we're all connected all the time. So what we do to non-Christians or non-Christians do to us, it affects us. And we're all connected all the time, just like a football team. We're all connected all the time. If you don't believe that, wait till the punter shanks one, and you'll see an old lineman go, who's not even on the field, go, oh my gosh. Or when the kicker misses and it goes wide right and you're down by 2 points and that was the winning kick. We're all connected all the time. Sometimes we don't think the kicker is as important as the quarterback until it's his time to kick the ball for the winning field goal. And then you realize we're all connected all the time. Just like our families, we're all connected all the time. What happens to the youngest child in our family directly affects the oldest adult, me, in the family. Mm-hmm. We're all connected all the time. And football really shows that because, one guy goes down accidentally injured, he sprains his ankle or something and he can't go, then the next guy's got to go. Somebody gets a bloody nose for whatever reason and he comes over to the sideline and the next guy's ready to go, but then the coach says, he looks back at the guy with the bloody nose and the guy with the bloody nose says, nah, coach, I got this. I'm tough. I got it. I'll finish. So it teaches us a lot of things, and I love football for the team. I love football for the leadership. I love football for the camaraderie. It doesn't matter what race you are, how much money your parents have, how much money you have, if you're talking about the pros. It doesn't matter. All we're trying to do is accomplish a goal in a timely fashion. And that's, the ultimate goal is to win the championship. If you're in the NFL, it's the Super Bowl. If you're in college, it's the national championship. If you're in high school, it's the state championship. That's the ultimate goal, and everybody is striving for that same goal. And you can keep kids pointed towards a goal very easily if you keep that prize out in front of them.
That's fantastic. I've never heard anybody put it that way about how we're all connected, but you're right. In every part of life, in a business, in a family, in football, that's awesome. What about the combination of Jesus and football? I know, like I said, just being around you, the joy that you exude and the happiness, even just watching you play with kids that aren't even part of the camp in the in-between times is just a joy to watch. Can you tell me why that combination of Jesus and football is important?
Well, like I said earlier, it gives you the confidence to be who Jesus created you to be. So we're all created to be disciples of God. And whether we make that choice or not and connect ourselves to that greater plan is up to us. But so when you are a football coach and you love Jesus, now what you're starting to do is you're bringing the whole plan together, and kids see that because you're modeling what Jesus did. You know, it's kind of what I think the two most powerful words in the whole Bible are follow me. And when you're a coach, basically what you're saying is follow me. I have a plan. Watch this. If you do what we're asking you to do, you too will be successful. Now, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, sometimes you're going to be separate from your friends. Does that sound familiar? Sometimes we got to take you away from your parents. Does that sound familiar? I mean, there's things that as when you become part of a team and the greater whole, there's things that you got to sacrifice. And so we ask these kids, you know, how bad is your want? How bad do you want this? And what are you willing to sacrifice to get your want? And, you know, when I was coaching at UNLV, we had a great experience daily because Andre Agassi used to, I think he still lives in Las Vegas, but at the time he was kind of in his prime as a tennis player. He was, you know, young and kind of the rebel and playing for Wimbledon championships and all that. But at the end of our practice field, there was a chain link fence, and on the other side of that fence, there was tennis courts. And Andre Agassi was on those tennis courts every day, 3 times a day. And which sounds, oh, well, you know, whatever, it's tennis. But you got to think about Las Vegas. It's about 185 degrees out there on a cement tennis court, blistering hot. And this guy was just, his want and what he was willing to sacrifice to achieve what he really wanted, just phenomenal. So we could use him as an example of, hey, you guys think you're hot? This dude's been here since 6:30 this morning. And guess what? When he's done hitting balls, he eats breakfast in the shade on the court. But then after about 15 minutes after eating breakfast, he goes back out and he's hitting more balls. And then he has lunch at the court. Then he comes over to our office and he stretches and lifts weights and does some conditioning stuff. And then at 5:30, he goes back over to the court and he hits more balls. And it'll show because you're going to be able to turn your TV on and watch him play in Wimbledon over in London in July, and you're going to be like, whoa, now that's sacrifice. Because he didn't hang out with his friends. He wasn't, I'm sure he had some friends, but I mean, it was like, tennis is kind of the solo sport, right? And he was over there, he was hitting balls. He had a tennis coach and he had a fitness coach. And that's all I know of. And just phenomenal example to our young football team of what it takes to achieve what you want. You've got to work. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, right? And he obviously had enough talent in his DNA to get him to where he was, and people saw that. But you also have to work at it because there's a lot of talented guys that are never be out there on the court or a field or anywhere.
Yeah, that combination.
So, and I don't know if Andre, you know, I'm not going to go there. I don't even know if Andre was Christian or knew Jesus or not. But when you can add Jesus to that other element, then you can start to add testimony to your test, your daily test. And, you know, when that happens, now you start to become all that Jesus wants you to become. He wants you to become, really, he wants us to be good football players so we can use it as a platform to share with other people. He wants us to be good coaches. Jesus wants us to be good coaches. He wants us to be good tennis players. He wants us to be good fathers so we can use that as a living example like he was. He was a living example. He had so many parables and so many metaphors that he used and spoke with so that we could relate to him. And that's what Jesus wants us to be. He wants us to be great coaches because he wants us to be able to relate to these kids that need a great mentor, a great coach in their life that can give them some direction and some leadership and some guidance. And I believe that. He wants us to be really good and really passionate and find our purpose and then go and use our purpose and use our passion with his message to spread his love and his word so he can grow the kingdom. You know, I always tell kids the The first two letters in God's name are G-O, go. Go tell somebody about it. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Coach. And what about last question? Thank you again for doing this with me. But there'll be lots of kids, lots of parents that watch this. Amazingly, the most views here so far with this interview series is on LinkedIn. So parents are watching it, professional parents are watching it. What's your message to those kids that will watch this and the parents who will?
Come to Nashville and I'll coach you up. No, I believe this. Embolden your kids in the gospel, which means this: read it to them, share it with them, have them read it back to you. And don't just do it on Christmas and Easter. That's only 2 reps. And if we only do it on Sunday of each week, that's only 52 reps. You don't get enough reps to get strong. If we only did 52 push-ups, I think I told the kids that over at the camp. If you only did 52 push-ups a year, there's no way in the wide world of sports you'd be strong enough to do anything. So you have to get more reps, and meaning you have to be really the best Facebook you should be in is put your face in the book, the Bible. That's the best Facebook. So when you get more reps at the Bible and with Jesus, just sitting with Jesus, listening to him, have somebody else talk to you about him, you're gonna grow, and you'll find yourself changing. It's like what Jesus said. When he said, "Follow me," Carroll, he didn't say, "Cut your hair, you got to change your clothes, stop smoking, you drink too much." He didn't say that. He said, "Follow me." And in so doing, you're probably not going to want to do all that stuff that you were doing that's kind of out of line, cussing and smoking and chasing and drinking and doing all those other things. He just said, "Follow me." So a good coach, when we say, essentially we're saying, "Follow me," and if we're a good coach with good leadership principles, biblical leadership principles, Jesus principles, the kids will start to grow and gravitate towards that. And they'll start to be more confident. They'll grow in Christ, and they'll just get more reps. And that's what they need. These little guys, some of these guys that we get to coach, they're 11 years old. They've only lived 11 years. Coach Holtz used to say, "Hey, I've been 18. You've never been 56, So it's, as parents, fathers, we've been 11. They don't even know what 12 feels like. They don't know what 14 feels like. They don't know what 21 feels like when they don't know what 18 feels like when you put up your high school cleats and you may never play football again. Or what 21 feels like when you put up your college cleats and now you got to go get a real job. They don't know what that feels like. We do, and we have that life experience that we can share with them. And Jesus knows it all, right? So when you mix it all together, then we even get, as adults, as leaders, as coaches, we get to share that experience, the experiences that Christ went through to these kids. Like I just had Soren, my little 14-year-old, read the whole Easter story before Easter. And I knew he had read the Easter story and knew it. But maybe that was 2 years ago when his brother read it, or a year ago when his sister read it. But until he reads it and he gets that rep, until he's underneath that squat rack and he's got 300 pounds on the bar, he won't feel it until it's him personally experiencing it. And that's what's so important about getting another rep, because I can throw all the footballs at practice. I can throw all the passes at the camp. That just makes me better. It doesn't make them better. They need to throw the passes. They need to take the drops. They need to see the defense. They need to lead the team. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to push leadership on them so that they can grow in their sport, grow in their youth, grow in their manhood, all those things that will make them go from a young guy to a mature man, and then they in turn can pass it along back down.
That's awesome. Get me fired up, Coach. I love it, and I'm serious, man. I look forward to these interviews so much because I'm learning and getting to learn from people like you who've been through it and raised great kids and raised great athletes and all that. So I'm very grateful for a personal level and also for everybody else, the other parents and kids that'll get to watch this. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of me and the other guys and gals at KidFit. Thank you for doing this. People who are looking to connect with you can do so at fcanashville.org. And just thank you again for taking the time.
Oh, I appreciate it. I learned this a long time ago when I was first getting into it. He who does the work does the learning, right? And that's what's so important about reps. He who does the work does the learning. And that's another reason why Jesus said, follow me, come out and hang out with me, because you're going to do things far greater than I. So that's why it's so important. You hang out with me. Think about this. We get to hang out with Jesus and we see what he does. Those guys hung out with him and didn't even believe in him until he had to come back and say, hey, I'm back. Yeah. And they're like, whoa, cool stuff.
You're right, man. Thank you so much, Coach.
Yeah.